an embarrassment. They're a statement about how little interest there actually is in women's basketball beyond Caitlin Clark.
These ratings are more than a bit disappointing. Everyone in the building can see them because they are a flashing red warning sign. The way the viewership fluctuates has revealed a reality that many in the WNBA community detest publicly stating. Numbers don't lie. The casual audience frequently vanishes when Caitlin Clark isn't in the spotlight.
Let's replay Nafisha Collier when she was talking tough and everybody's applauding her. You go, girl.
However, that does not imply that no one else is important. It also does not imply that other stars are incapable of drawing at all. It indicates that the league's newfound popularity is brittle and still mostly dependent on a few names.
The privilege of watching my husband run a league where he has to balance 100 different things at once. I won't pretend the job is easy.
That is a hazardous approach from a commercial standpoint because your entire enterprise cannot rely on a single engine indefinitely. However, this is where things become more complicated, and there is a lot of online indignation.
But even with all of that on his plate, he always takes the time to reach out to players when he sees an injury, whether it's unrivaled or even during the WNBA season.
As they watch the stalemate, many viewers are thinking, wait, the same wave of attention that boosted everyone's profile is now being followed by threats that could blow up the 2026 season.
No logic here. Hey, just pay us what we want. I don't want to hear about paying us what's sustainable.
People are furious because it seems like the league has finally gained attention, and now the negotiation drama is going to put an end to it. Let's examine the real reactions of critics, because timing and optics are just as important as emotion. According to reports and debate, the league has proposed ideas that may significantly increase top-tier compensation. Fans feel the players should be happy when they hear potential seven-figure maximum territory, especially since the league has typically discussed narrow margins and high operational costs. This is especially true when numbers are thrown around that sound life-changing by WNBA standards.
The WNBA loses millions of dollars a year.
However, the public discourse surrounding talks frequently conveys the idea that we are not making enough progress or budging. A backlash is inevitable when significant rises are contemplated on one side and tough remarks are made on the other. What is the league realistically able to support? Many begin to wonder. And what happens if both teams put forth a lot of effort till the season is in jeopardy?
I don't really care about Caitlin Clark anymore because she's halfway crazy.
The economics is what's causing the loudest reactions. Even proponents of increased compensation acknowledge that income and profit are not the same thing. Even if a league makes more money, its high expenses will still drain it. You name it: travel, arenas, hiring, marketing, manufacturing, growth, insurance, etc. Fans don't immediately think of cheap owners when they learn that many WNBA clubs have required funding for years. They believe that this company still has to balance the books. From the pay we receive to the private flights, all of it is charitable. Welfare is the main focus. Critics so fiercely oppose negotiations that are portrayed as the players' demands for a framework more akin to big men's leagues. Not because female players don't deserve respect, but rather because leagues are compensated according to the long-term viability of media deals and sponsorships.
From the private flights to the salaries we're getting paid, it's all charity. It's all welfare.
Because of this, even when individuals dislike that discussion, the topic of viewership and ticket demand keeps coming up. Now, when specific names are brought forward, the discussion becomes even more heated. Angel Reese and other prominent voices have been singled out by certain observers as representatives of the uncompromising stance. But in this case, fairness is crucial, and full union is not equal to a single player. A large group is represented by a players' association. Rookies, veterans, stars, and role players don't all have the same resources or leverage. However, some gamers end up receiving criticism because online discourse loves a face and a villain. However, there's another perspective that's actually worth talking about without becoming personal insults: conflicts of interest and leadership. Some detractors contend that it appears untidy when well-known basketball players who are also involved in other basketball endeavors have a say in the collective bargaining discussion. It's not that they're bad. Optics and trust are the key. Because when people perceive mixed motivations, negotiations get contentious in any field. Because of their connections to alternative off-season basketball ventures like Unrivaled, Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart are frequently mentioned in this argument. This is how the criticism is expressed. If leaders have ties to a rival product, even indirectly, owners will wonder if every negotiating action is solely focused on enhancing the WNBA or also on bolstering external choices. It's a perception problem that may quickly contaminate conversations, but it's not a proved accusation of guilt. To help you understand that, consider it this way. Your initial thought will be, are they fully aligned with keeping this thing stable? If someone is negotiating the future of your firm while also developing a separate business in the same space, they can still be in alignment despite this. It implies that in order to maintain everyone's composure, more openness and trust would be required. And at the moment, trust is precisely what the union and the WNBA appear to be running low. Many supporters believe that the priorities are out of alignment after hearing the public criticisms. One instance that has been discussed is criticism of Commissioner Kathy Angelbert, which focuses on communication and connections, such as whether or not players are personally contacted by leadership following injury. It makes sense that players would want more direct communication and respect on a human level. Feeling appreciated is important because athletes are not machines. However, detractors argue that since the league's long-term stability and financial structure are the true make-or-break issues, it can't be the main complaint. Put another way, they are arguing that while emotions are important, arithmetic is still important. And the worst situation, both parties are speaking over one another in this situation. While the calendar continues to move, one side is concentrating on respect and power, while the other is concentrating on costs and sustainability. This is where the conversation online gets sharp and sometimes unfair. It's a trap for some individuals to convert the story from one of labor negotiations into one of a culture war. You can demand reasonable planning while yet supporting women's sports. You can question whether the suggested revenue split is feasible while still supporting greater pay. None of that calls for disparaging players or making fun of their identities or worldviews. Honest numbers and economic clarity are necessary. Another forum for discussion is the rookie compensation controversy. Circles. Critics will tell you that a rookie earning about $70,000 per season is not impoverished. Then you'll hear players and fans say, that number doesn't reflect the value created, and careers are short. It is possible for both things to be true simultaneously. What the league can sustainably guarantee, and whether the upcoming agreement pushes players towards stability without tying teams into a structure that crumbles under duress, are the true questions. NBA comparisons are frequently made, but they are frequently done poorly. With decades of ingrained fan loyalty, enormous television deals, and a global presence, the NBA is a gigantic financial generator. Although the WNBA has been expanding quickly, it is not functioning on the same scale as of yet. WNBA players shouldn't take crumbs because of this. It does imply that the current NBA model may not be a perfect replica. Instead of assuming that every league has the same revenue streams, the debate should focus on creating the best structure for this league at this point. Indeed, investment and collaboration with the NBA ecosystem have contributed significantly to the stability of the WNBA. That is referred to as a subsidy. It's referred to as support. It's referred to as strategic investment. The point remains the same regardless of the label you select. Support has helped the WNBA endure and expand. Although this support is advantageous, the league's executives will be wary of making long-term commitments to numbers they cannot sustain. Here's where the ratings like a boomerang, reality keeps returning. Critics contend that the league's wider audience isn't yet fully committed to the overall product if viewership drastically declines when specific stars aren't involved. The athletes are not insulted by that. That presents a marketing dilemma. Regardless of the uniform on screen, the league still has work to do to convert new viewers into devoted viewers. The quiet from the stars, who have the power to soothe the crowd, is the portion that fans find particularly annoying. Some anticipated that Caitlin Clark, who attracts the most attention, would publicly advocate for compromise. Let's get a deal, or something similar. Defend the season. Continue expanding this. However, fans are free to interpret silence from celebrities however they see fit. Some refer to it as professionalism, others as avoiding controversy, while the most irate voices refer to it as complicity. That's the perception game, fair or not.
They think they're their own gods. And that's why everything that they build collapses. And that's why women's sports are going to collapse.
Now, when external political or social message is incorporated into the same discussion, the situation becomes much more complex. For instance, advertisements and campaigns using athletes and advocacy organizations can start discussions about fairness, inclusiveness, and identity in sports. People have strong opinions about the debate, which is real. However, including that whole problem into CBA economics frequently results in a yelling battle rather than a solution. Concentrated bargaining. This is a more polite way to phrase it. Leagues cannot function only on the basis of vibes. They are unable to operate solely on slogans. They must monitor what is financially feasible in addition to what feels appropriate. Your alternatives are restricted if your expenses surpass your earnings. Increase income, reorganize spending, or work out a model that doesn't interfere with the system. That isn't an ideology. That's the seriousness of business. Furthermore, gravity is unaffected by a person's level of passion. Everyone is affected in the same way. Fans continue to reiterate a basic point because of this. A work stoppage that drives away casual viewers is the worst course of action if the league is finally gaining traction. This is the point at which Unrivaled is continually brought up as a point of comparison. Critics claim that claimed low viewership moments demonstrate something harsh. That many players struggle to draw large crowds outside of the WNBA's primary platform and organization. That might not be the whole story. It's the story that people are using, not the products, marketing, or time slots. Additionally, because narratives affect public pressure, they're important in negotiations. Leverage is shifted in undesirable ways if the public feels that a small group of stars receive the majority of the attention. Because not everyone has the same endorsements, the same limelight, or the same patience, it also causes conflict inside the player group. A season that was lost. Sometimes a superstar can weather a storm. A player on a minimum wage might not be able to. That has nothing to do with skill or value. That relates to the unequal reality of sports earnings. Therefore, this is typically what people mean when they argue that the union is overplaying its hand. The danger is not shared equally among members. The middle and bottom are the first to suffer if talks end in a lockout. Ownership is aware that this pressure has the potential to shatter unity. Because of this, labor disputes can turn violent. Because leverage is financial endurance as well as morality. All of this does not imply that athletes should take a lousy deal. It implies that the agreement must be planned for long-term growth rather than merely flashy figures. A clever construction could include significant pay increases, improved benefits, improved travel, and a revenue-sharing plan that rises when revenue reaches actual standards. In business, this kind of escalator strategy is typical. The slice grows along with the pie. Although it's not flawless, it links compensation to performance in a way that players can rely on and owners can defend. At the precise moment when the league should be developing, both sides might go all or nothing, which is a nightmarish scenario. Because women's basketball fan allegiance is still growing, particularly among new viewers. Compared to the NBA, it is less generational. Compared to other older sports cultures, it is less rigid. Fans may drift if the product vanishes for a year. It also takes a lot to get them back once they start to drift. Because of this, people are more afraid of losing a season than they are of a certain wage figure. This is the harsh reality that may be expressed without offending anyone. A league serves as a platform. Most players lose visibility, influence, and the capacity to develop a following without the platform. It's not shadow. Sports ecosystems function in this way. Sponsors, media attention, national broadcasts, and the legitimacy of elite competition are all provided by the platform. The platform is the amplifier, but the players are the talent. Everyone's volume drops if the amplifier stops working. Therefore, the Players Association is not asked, "Do you deserve more?" It's a tactic that increases your output without endangering the entire engine. Furthermore, can you hold the line? Isn't the ownership question. It's how to adequately compensate talent while maintaining team stability so they can develop. Even if both parties are correct about some aspects of the problem, the season will suffer if they are unable to come to an agreement. And everyone starts blaming each other when a season turns into collateral damage. Sponsors hesitate, networks reconsider, casual viewers move on. Owners blame players, players blame leadership, and fans blame owners. After that, the league is stuck attempting to regain the momentum it took years to build. The stakes feel so personal because of this. At the moment, and the reasons behind the intense rhetoric. Pay is not the only issue that people are debating. They are debating if the WNBA is going to squander its most significant growth opportunity in a long time. Emotions are heightened because of this. Because it resembles witnessing someone toss the cards to the ground after finally getting a winning hand. This is the actual query. Are both sides being strategic, which makes the negotiation positions difficult? Or are they challenging because the situation is being misinterpreted by both parties? Because the time is right, women's basketball is receiving attention, the audience is growing, and the next choices will either create a secure future or cause a difficult-to-recover setback. Recuperate from. This goes beyond a single player, team, or headline, so share your opinions in the comments. Do WNBA players have a right to demand a larger share? Or are both parties taking advantage of a fantastic opportunity? Do you believe that the 2026 WNBA season will be completed? Or does this impasse get worse before it gets better?